Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back. We are at 216 Creators Studios. We're going to be talking. Hi, oh my gosh, your host, y'all know. Welcome in. We're going to be talking today a little bit about authenticity and vulnerability and how we can leverage those both to live in your most perfectly aligned life. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Luna Goddess. Best way to describe what I do, I'm a mind hacker. I get inside your minds and we get heart and mindset in alignment to live in your best possible joy. So if you're joining us from our various communities across social media, I just want to welcome you. I want to welcome you also to the ending of the first week in January. Stay with us because in this episode, we will discuss some of those transits and predictions for you by your astrological sign, and we'll continue to talk about authenticity and vulnerability. So beautiful morning to you. If you're joining us from our TikTok side, there are opportunities for you to get customized reads. Just leverage all of those things up in the treasure trove that you know, and we'll get moving with it. So let's get started. What does it mean to be authentic? What does it mean to be a dupe? Well, if you're familiar with various products, there's always the authentic product, and then there's the copycats. So we're going to start with what does it mean to be a dupe? Let's get going on that. So Nico, if we could throw up that graphic, my love.
Learn in the research that the opposite.
Thank you. Okay, so being a dupe is about being on autopilot, right? It's mimicking others. It's without genuine alignment. Right? So think about this for a second. It's describing something as being disconnected, constantly looking for approval or comparison. Listen, I call this people pleasing and approval sucking. And here's the deal. A lot of the times when we say yes to things and we're exhausted and we're overcommitted and overstimulated, it's because we don't want to let somebody else down. We're not thinking about our perfect alignment. I said during the holidays, if you don't want to go to that holiday event, don't go. Okay. Respond politely and just say, you know what, this is just not going to work for me. If it's this Friday night and everybody wants to go have a grand old time, go out and slug it down, you can say, you know what, I just want to stay home, and that's okay. It's not about seeking their approval. It's about seeking your alignment. So the most important thing you can stop and say, is this truly what I want to do? Is this truly who I want to become? I'll talk a little bit about, as you guys know, I have 3 kids. I'm a mom of 3. My oldest is turning 23 in January. And I like to refer to it as the mama mafia. When I first was pregnant with my oldest, everybody wanted to tell me how to do my pregnancy. Everybody wanted to tell me how to paint my nursery, raise my babies, all of the various things that were societal norms about how to move forward. And you have to do this. You don't. They shoulded me to death, and don't should on people to death, right? So what I will say this is when you go against the grain of traditional, when you align with who you are and you say, you know what, that's great, but this is how I want to do this. When I was raising my children as if it was the 80s of exploration and creativity, but they're being born in the 2000s, it was a little bit of a challenge. But here's the deal. When you go against your authentic self, you're compromising yourself. Brene Brown, who we're going to play this in a second, is an expert about talking about the difference between fitting in and belonging. And I could not summarize it better than she can. So I'll have this clip and we'll talk a little bit about that. And we'll take it to the chat. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for the tippity taps on the TikTok side. I appreciate it. And the interaction across all platforms. So let's take a look at that Brene Brown clip.
So shocked to learn in the research that the opposite of belonging is fitting in. Because fitting in is assessing a group of people and thinking, who do I need to be? What do I need to say? What do I need to wear? How do I need to act? And changing who you are. And true belonging never asks us to change who we are. It demands that we be who we are. Because if we fit in because how we've changed ourselves, that's not belonging. That's not belonging because you betrayed yourself for other people. And that's not sustainable.
How many times have you betrayed yourself for someone else? Whether it was a relationship, a group of friends, maybe a career. How many times have you hidden your true feelings or identity or anything that just makes you uniquely you so that you could be a part of something? So instead of belonging and showing up authentically and showing up in a way that feels good for you, you would change your clothes. You would change your maybe intonation, your tone. Maybe you wanted to say profanity in the moment, but you're like, oh, okay, there's a difference between being respectful of the situation. Like, I would not run up into church and start dropping the F bomb. I'm just saying. Okay. But being aware of really, truly being authentic. If you want to say fuck, say fuck. Oops, I said it. Not sorry. Okay. Living your authenticity. Now, does that mean that it's vulgar? A lot of people have opinions on these things. Truly, if you go into the research, using vulgarity in language is empowering. So everything we do at lunagoddess.org is about empowerment. It's living in your authentic self. As you sit there, it's not trying to say, who can I become? Can I become that Stepford wife and live with the white picket fence and the 2 dogs and the 2 kids? And, everybody's just, I'm fine. Oh, I'm fine. That's another thing about authenticity and vulnerability is the toxic positivity. Listen, we've talked about this before. If it sucks, it sucks. We're going to acknowledge it. We're going to feel it, unless you want to have those trapped emotions become autoimmune issues, have them become allergies, 89% of which is trapped emotions. So if you want to feel something, you feel it. You acknowledge it, you claim it, you name it, then you reframe it. You don't sit and be a vulnerable participant in your own life. You don't sit there and have a pity party for the entirety of your whole life because life's not fair, God's not good, whatever it is you just want to believe to accommodate that. So as we sit there, I'll open it up to questions. Anything that we have happening right now, Nico?
Yeah, we have a chat from Tara. I don't know how to be a dupe, LOL. All I can be is me, and I'm okay with going against the crowd and being different. It feels the most natural to me. I'm shedding old skin and becoming my new self.
That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Tara. Hi, honey. It's important to understand that 2025 was the year of the snake. It was also the 9-year for completion in numerology of a cycle that began in 2016. It is hard. And I think there's something that comes with every decade of your life, right? So I'm 50. So I think there's a lot of people my age that are Gen X that basically are just tired of the bullshit. Maybe you've inherited that beforehand, but the authenticity of leaning into saying, okay, and I'm not saying you be a sasshole. Let's get this under control. You can authentically be yourself without being a jerk. You can set beautiful boundaries without being a jerk. If somebody's calling you a jerk because you have boundaries or you have expectations or you're living your most authentic life and you're joyful, okay. But if you're walking around using authenticity as a weapon to act like a sasshole or an asshole, that's a different story. In this case, we sit with self and we say, okay, what is it that we want to feel? Who do we want to be? Maybe you've never stopped. We live in a society here in the United States and even in other countries as well that keep you on such a fast pace that you can't even recognize yourself in the mirror sometimes. Maybe you just don't take that time. So authenticity and vulnerability is a hard thing. When we're talking about authenticity first, we're going to leverage in that vulnerability piece because those are different. Those are different. With authenticity, we show up as ourselves. We're not attempting to fit in. We're aligning to belong. We're not attempting to fit in. We're aligning to belong. And there are just some places and spaces where we don't belong. There are places, and spaces where we have to energetically say, thank you, no thank you. There are people that are from our past that truly want us to stay in our inauthentic light. It's kind of the crabs in the bucket mentality. We start to grow and change and evolve, and they want to pull you down. They want to pull you down. They want to say, no, you can't be different. You have to be this version of yourself that I've always known. No, you don't. I would prefer to be a river every day than be a stagnant pond. So there's going to be that evolution of self. There's going to be that evolution of change. There's going to be that living in your truth, whether that is related to any concept of what and how that defines you. And living there in a space where you don't do it for entertainment purposes, you're doing it for true, authentic alignment. So thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Emily, for the galaxy and the heart me. I appreciate you so much. That said, as we sit with this authenticity, how can you show up in a way that allows you to be yourself and respect your boundaries, but maybe not impede on others' authenticity, right? Like, so we're these all authentic bubbles, right? How do we come together? And that's vulnerability. So I'll pause for a second. Any questions, Nico, coming out the chat?
Nothing at the moment.
Nothing at the moment. Okay. Well, thank you on the TikToks for all the goodies that you guys are sending. I truly appreciate you so much. Now, let's talk about being vulnerable. This is how we're able to access each other's authenticity, right? So we sit there and you show up in your authentic self. You come with not that chip on your shoulder. Because I'll tell you what, I grew up in Chicago, and there's a part of me, the majority of my life was raised in Chicago. Then we moved out to the suburbs, which was cruel and unfortunate. I'm okay with it now. But when I was 14 going to the suburbs, I said, oh shit, I don't know what I'm getting into, because I was riding the L, as I've told you guys before, and some of my TikTok stories. I was riding the L and hanging out with the unhomed, as we now say, at 10. At 10, and giving them sandwiches and hanging out and finding out where crazy Irene was, so nobody was going to get into trouble, right? So then we moved to the suburbs, and much different existence. And I remember kind of the shame blame game on myself. Like, why can't I be like these other people? You know, why am I coming here with this savvy city girl attitude? And this is a suburban thing, right? The brown line and red line. Yeah, girl, I was a blue line girl. I was a blue line girl. Running them streets literally at 10. I was working. I worked for a company that had me in the back of a pickup truck that was rusted the hell out, handing out flyers. I was 10. You know, there are different times, right? Different strokes, different folks. But then you go someplace where it's just different and they operate differently. And it's like, whoa, juxtaposition. And there's been a lot of those shifts in my life where I'm like, whoa, happened when I moved to Europe and lived in Spain for a while. It just was different, right? But I still wanted to show up authentically as myself and find a way to collaborate with other people's authenticity. That's through vulnerability. Now, vulnerability scares the shit out of most people, honest to God. When you think, okay, I'm just going to be open. Yeah, you're going to be open. You're not going to have a brick wall. But what you're going to do is have a semi-permeable bubble. Like, think to yourself like the Glenda bubble. You're just going to bubble your shit up. So you're protecting your energy, right, at all times. And you're staying authentically true, but you're allowing for that semi-permeable, semi-osmotic movement of energy, because everything's energy. The way I speak, the way I move, the way I feel, the way I align, it's all an energetic exchange, and it keeps moving. So as long as I'm keeping my head set and my heart set in concordance and trying to do the best for what I perceive in alignment with my own integrity, standards, goals of truly helping elevate society, that's important. So what happens now? Well, when I roll up in my authentic little bubble, not a wall, right? Because we can wall up our hearts after we're hurt. We can wall up our minds and be closed-minded. But we want bubbles. We want bubbles, energy to flow through and go. I roll up and I find somebody else in their authenticity, and maybe they have a completely different perspective than I do. Okay, let's get vulnerable. Let's talk about it. There doesn't have to be a need for disharmony. There just has to be a need for a discussion. I see some things coming up in the chat. What do we got, Nico? What do we got, love?
We got chat from someone, M.A. Lee. I'm not sure.
Emily, yep.
Vulnerable versus raw authentic self. What do you see as the main difference, or is it we need to do both?
So authenticity is who we are, right? Vulnerability is kind of the card to connect to other people. So when we talk about that raw authenticity, it's showing up as we are in a respectful way. Like, we're not going to walk in and be like, hey, blah. Maybe sometimes you need to, depending on the people you're interacting with. We also know what's called social competency, right? Knowing in certain environments, we have a schematic way of behaving. Now, is that compromising our authenticity? No, it's just kind of being respectful of the social norms. For example, when you're driving a car, there's a red light. Authentically, you want it to be a green light and you want to drive right through because you want to get to where you're going. But you have to remember there are some social constructs. Vulnerability is the vehicle that connects us to other people. So if I can show up and say, you know what, when I'm talking to somebody that maybe has gone through trouble conceiving, they've gone through their story, I'm not going to overshadow their story, but I'm going to sit with them and I'm going to sit down with them and feel with them and say, I understand this is hard and I have some experience here. If you'd like to hear my story, I'll share that with you, but I want to hold space for your story. Right. So that, that might be very important when you're looking at the concept of how do I hold space for other people's authenticity while maintaining mine through vulnerability. Okay. Questions. I know that's a lot to swallow. And I say vulnerable and people go, oh, like I'm talking about the flu. It is not something you catch, it's something you have, and it's something you do. And a lot of people, especially in business, they want to be perceived as strong. Well, the real ticker here is that emotional quotient with that intellectual quotient, your EQ and your IQ blending together, and vulnerability actually helps you become more likable in what you're doing. Okay. I see a couple questions, Nico. You got it?
Yeah, Maylee, correct? Did I say that right?
I think so. Where's this coming from?
TikTok.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Holding space is so hard when my brain wants to share my experience to connect.
That's the right thing, right? Like all of us want to be like, they start to tell a story and you're like, oh, wait. You know, I have the same story. And sometimes people just want their story to be heard. Like they come in a vulnerable way and say, you know, hey, I had a nephew that went through, and I'll talk about this, Emily. And you know, I had a nephew that died of pediatric cancer. Emily does beautiful work with children that are, if she visits hospitals, she's actually doing some really cool stuff. I'm going to brag on you, Emily. She's doing some real cool stuff today, taking a child that's facing pediatric cancer and showing them a good time at a water park today. Okay. I want to listen to her story. I want to hear it and I want to celebrate it. But then if I say, you know, do you want me to connect with you on my side? It could be just as simple as, how do you want to be heard? How do you want to be seen? What do you want to do? How do you want to be expressed with your authenticity? Now, there are some people that they show up in a narcissistic way and they're constantly like, me. And you're just, those aren't your people. Those aren't your people. You'll know those grandiose narcissists that show up and want to just live in the spotlight. Authenticity is not living in your spotlight. It's living in yourself and going, okay, yeah. There are times I'll know, my body will tell me when I've come out of my alignment, when I've done something that doesn't feel good for me. I'm not saying goes against my integrity because I always do things in an integral way, but feels like I'm being phony to myself. And I go, shit, that's not me. I don't laugh that way. I don't talk that way. I don't move that way. Why did I do that? You know, why did I do that? Why did I like almost downshift into a default setting of trying to fit in? I don't do that anymore. People say, like, when I go to business meetings, I'll go here. I went to a business meeting in a shirt that says, it says something like, I'm not crazy, I'm just spicy, or something like that. It was a t-shirt. Didn't give a shit. Okay. Respect the environment, but I came with my mind full of ideas. My wardrobe did not need to dictate a suit. Sometimes it does, right? So as you sit there, kind of think about that. How do you want to authentically show up? Now I'm going to give you a next segment. And this next segment is actually sponsored by Luna Goddess. You can sponsor any of these segments. Just please reach out to the show and we can talk to you about sponsorship. But I'm sponsoring this next segment. Now, what do you need to know about Luna Goddess? Well, lunagoddess.org. Right up there is a place where you can find your ultimate alignment, whether that's through intuition, holistic healing, or through my favorite service called a mindset hack. It's really starting to look at, from a 360 perspective, how do you own and heal your shit, heal your trauma, heal your drama, live authentically, let go of resentment, and fall into the alignment that is what you need, right? So let's take a look, my loves. As a segment, I'm going to talk a little bit about by each sign. And if there are questions that arise, Nico, just let me know. Okay. We're moving into, is there something, my love?
Not at the moment.
Okay. We're moving into a 1 year. I've spoke about this frequently. This is the new cycle of year of 2026. And I will say 2035, but my mind goes, holy shit, how's it almost 2035? 2026 to 2035 is this new 9-year cycle. The last one we just completed in 2025 was 2016 to 2025. So here we go. A couple things We're talking about innovation, independence, and bold self-initiation. And thank you guys again on that side of TikTok for the tippy taps and all of those beautiful gifts. I appreciate you all so much. If you're an Aquarius, the 1 year pushes you to move from theory to action. You spend years observing society. So this is now the new authentic self for you. Now 2026 asks you to lead it. You know what? I'm so glad that Pluto came out of Capricorn. It's in your sign. Merry Christmas. There's your late present. I'm glad it's not with me anymore. This year is to launch the Unconventional Tech Project or Community. Hi, Jess. Community Initiative. Your intellectual independence is greatest asset in this new cycle. If you are an Aries, my loves, as the first sign of the zodiac, you are naturally aligned with the one vibration. This year is to double dose on I am energy. 2026 is a powerful year for personal branding and physical reinvention. If you've been waiting for a sign to start a solo venture, the universe is handing you the keys. If you're Cancer, the 1 year focuses you from caretaking others to emotional self-mastery. 2026 is about setting firm boundaries that protect your peace. You're being called to initiate a new home base within yourself. There's that authenticity part, right? Ensuring that your security comes from your own strength rather than external approval. Cancers. Oh my God, it's your home, baby. If you are a Capricorn, the coolest sign in the whole damn zodiac, I would have to say, being one myself, demands a new approach to your career. Sorry, I'm not picking a favorite. It's like children. You like the one more one day and the other one the other day, but you love everybody equally, allegedly. Demands a new approach to your career. The one energy encourages you to step out of the corporate shadow into the light of your own authority. Welcome to Intuitive Innovations. It's time to stop following the traditional ladder and build your own. I ain't taking no damn ladder. I'm not taking the stairs. I'm building an elevator. I'm building an elevator. If you've been with me since August, you know the exponential growth we're having here with Lunar Goddess. Your discipline combines this with the startup energy that makes you unstoppable. I wish I still had my long hair flip. Okay. If you're a Gemini, the 1 year, podcast, hi, Del. If you're a Gemini, the 1 year requires you to narrow your focus. Well, you have 10 projects going at once. 2026 rewards the power of one. So we're going to burn that down a little bit. Pick the single most innovative idea that you have and commit to it fully. This is a year about gaining clarity and using your voice to lead new conversations. Gemini's, man, you guys can speak. Use it, lean into it. If you are a Leo, brings a drastic change to your lifestyle and personal presence. Under the one vibration, the universe says yes to your creative self-expressions. It is a year for bold debuts and taking center stage. You aren't participating in life this year. You are directing the entire production. I know some Leos that love the stage, and I know some more quiet Leos that just enjoy leading, but in a quiet way, not maybe roaring necessarily. If you're a Libra like Cinnamon, you want to stop people pleasing and start self-prioritizing. People pleasing, self-prioritizing. 2026 is about finding balance through the healthy independence. You may find yourself ending collaborative projects that no longer serve you to start something new that is 100% yours. Trust your own taste and vision. Hello, all my TikToky friends. I see you all saying hi. Hello. Pisces, after the heavy release of the previous year. Ooh, Pisces be feeling last year. 2026, thank you so much. Hey, Christiane, is your spiritual reset button. The one energy helps you ground your dreams into reality. This is a year to turn your intuitive hits into tangible business or practice. You're moving from being a dreamer to being a conscious creator. I'll build on that too. I will say the word I want 2026 to have and be: creativity and curiosity. What are you curious about? You want to have an ant farm? Have a flipping ant farm. You want to start painting? You're never too old, and it's never too late to lean into your creativity and your curiosity. If you are a Sagittarius, it's about a new kind of freedom. Instead of running towards the next horizon, the one energy asks you to plant a flag where you stand and build something new. It's a year for intellectual pioneering. Starting a course or starting a business that expands your philosophy of life. If you are Scorpio, we're getting down to the end of it. The 1 year is a time of intense personal transformation. Oh my gosh, Scorpios. You are shedding an old identity to make room for a more powerful, independent version of yourself. 2026 favors deep, solo deep dives into new professional territories. Your ambition is high. Use this reset to claim a new level of power. 2 more to go. Here we go. Thank you for that daily heart, me, Blake. Appreciate you. If you are a Taurus, I ask you to leave comfort zones for the sake of long-term stability. Good morning. Grand rising, everybody. The one vibration encourages you to innovate your finances and self-worth. Thank you so much for that, Christy. That did hurt me. It is near to break your old habits and start fresh routines that support your physical health and material abundance. Thank you, Jess. And if you're finally a Virgo, the 1 year you are the architect of a new system. 2026 is filled with opportunity to reorganize your life from the ground up. Stop fixing old problems and start creating new solutions. This is a perfect year for a career pivot or a complete overhaul of your daily wellness rituals. So, Nico, remind me, what is your sun sign? What's your astrology love?
I'm a Taurus.
You're a Taurus. So you're going to leave that comfort zone for sake of long-term stability. Doesn't that resonate for you?
That sounds exactly like my plan that I have this year. So
encourages you to innovate your finance and self-worth, break old habits and start fresh routines that support your physical health and material abundance. I think knowing and sitting in your energy before, that's a beautiful, beautiful outlook for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
We have a comment from Tara on YouTube. Leo/Virgo here, not a center stage Leo.
Not as understand. Yeah, there's a lot of them. It's so funny. People will meet Leos and they'll be like, oh my God, you Leos love the stage. No, there are some very, very private Leos. There are some Leos that are more introverted, that enjoy leading and helping and protecting, but they don't want to take the stage. Perfectly fine. That's your own alignment. Isn't that a beautiful thing that sometimes when we talk about astrology, and this was in the sun signs, that we think everybody's the same, right? If you're a Capricorn, you've got to be obsessed with money and you're not funny and you talk about spreadsheets. Not true. Okay. We can all have these very different mix, right? Our sun sign, our moon sign, our ascendant, our planets. And if you're uncertain what those are, please reach out to me. We can do a chart. We can take a look at your destiny numbers, right? It definitely changes. It definitely changes with your authenticity. So I think people find it really funny when I tell them I'm Capricorn. They're like, there's no way. I guess I am. I think it's my very interesting sense of humor and just showing up authentically and being somebody that does medium work and intuition and melds them together to help serve my community, right? Whether it's serving my community on social media, serving my community here in the Chicagoland area, or just serving the community of people that I call family and friends.
Tara has another follow-up comment. Definitely an introvert. You nailed it as always, Luna. And then she also said, I think I resonate more with Virgo with some of the Leo.
I can see that. I can absolutely see that, especially with kind of that grounding energy that Virgo brings. 100%. And that's it. Like, especially if you're a cusp baby, you can resonate. So there are things about, so I'm born on the 28th of December. We see that change come in, right about December 21st, December 22nd, usually around the 21st, moving into the sign of Capricorn, coming out of the sign of Sagittarius. And you'll see that there are some, like, I can be the life of the party sometimes, but then sometimes I just want to sit in the corner and observe. And that's the Sagittarius, the energy of that funny sense of humor, wanting to be kind of the life of get on the bar, do the ditty, do a little dance, right? But then also just sit and get quiet and reflective and meditate. So very interesting. Thank you guys for all those goodies and those daily heart me's, and thank you for filling up those treasure troves on the TikTok side. All right, let's move into looking at Ikigai. Now, Ikigai is not the guy that tries to hit on you in the bar and pick you up. Ikigai is actually a Japanese philosophy that aligns with what we're talking about with authenticity and vulnerability. Nico, can you throw that up on there, please? Thanks, love. Okay. When we talk about Ikigai, we talk about it being the center. Then we talk about what is our mission. Okay. What is our profession? What is our passion? Right. And then how we're kind of having a vision of self. and the love and the guidance and how it all melds together. So here's the thing. When you change one thing in your life, you change everything in your life, right? When you change one thing in your life, you change everything in your life. And do you see in this beautiful look that we have right here, when you look at Ikigai, you're looking at how do you take that authenticity of self and how do you have those other components come in? And how do you make sure that you're making your needs aligned with your passion, which is aligned with your love, which is aligned with your career, which is aligned with you just coming in the most authentic self? So just take a second to kind of look at that and digest that. Okay. And sit with the energy of what does that mean? So we explored all of the sun signs and astrology signs. If you missed it, I'll be live again tonight doing those predictions. You can kind of roll on up into the room. But as you sit and look at the Ikigai and you look at your mission and you look at what you're good at and you look at what you love and you look at how to meet your needs, right? Because you might be a fabulous painter and you're passionate about it and you're good about it, but maybe you don't know how to bring in the needs of like, now you got to pay bills with being a painter. And you really want to do that and you really want to love that. So how do you have it all come together in a very beautiful, authentic way? So this is a wonderful way to sit with self, to sit with your power, to sit with what you're doing and think, how do I draw all of these strings together, all of these concepts together? Okay. Now, as we do that, we're going to take it to the comments. So if we could put up the next one about looking at the questions, I want you to pick one of these questions here. Nico, can you read those for me? Because I don't have my glasses on.
Number 1, what are your top 2 to 3 core values that you truly resonate with?
All right, so let's look at that. In the chats, wherever you're coming from, whatever feed you're coming in on, if you're watching us live, what are those core values that you resonate with? You don't have to write a paragraph. You can just write words. So I'll look for those, right? Okay. What are you looking for? What are you trying to resonate? Nico's going to pull a couple of those comments. I'll give you a second to comment. I'll share some of mine. I think my core values are that of service. That's why I started Luna Goddess education, helping people intuitively and holistically, being a friend to myself and others, being integral, and learning something new every day. Every single day, I challenge myself to learn something new because I'm not. I know a good amount of stuff, but I still want to stay curious for learning. So staying curious for learning and having integrity are my two. What do we see coming up as some of those answers?
We have one comment from the Ikigai that we were just talking about. I am currently trying to figure out how my art can mesh with my activism in a money way.
Okay. Maybe Dell, it's something like leaning into creating artwork on activism shirts, right? Or maybe it's finding pins or something where you can monetize what you're doing, what you love, and putting it out in a way that people can become a part of a movement. I think the most important thing is when they know, like, and trust you, then they're going to follow. You don't need to pull people. That model of like, I'm pulling a horse to water. No, quite honestly, the horse is like, let's go get a drink because they know, like, and trust you. Okay. Are there any other kind of questions coming through, statements? Let's look at that. So was there another one that came through? I think
From Tara on YouTube, I am a helper, love being able to help when I can, love caring for people.
Absolutely. And I see that, right? I absolutely see that. Is that being able to show up for people, right? But never at the detriment of yourself, never at the detriment of, thank you, Della, never, and thank you for that. Disco Populars, I really appreciate it. Never the detriment of yourself, right? Like some of us that are helpers and empaths, we do it. And the next thing we know, we're drained because we overgave, overdid, overserved, right? We overdid, overgave, overserved. So how do you work with those core tenements and values in a way that doesn't overcommit, overserve, overdo? Okay. Next question, my love. Next question. Thank you guys for all those goodies. I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for the tippy taps.
Next question, number 2. What activities or situations make you feel most genuinely you, where you don't feel like you're putting on a mask?
What do you feel most authentic doing? These can be activities, they can be hobbies, they can be things that make you feel creative. They can, when do you feel most in your alignment? For me personally, when I'm doing this podcast, when I'm doing my streams, when I'm talking to people heart to heart and mind to mind, that's when I feel the most flowing with spirit and in my authentic alignment. When I travel and I go to new countries and I sit with the cultures and I sit with the food and I sit with the people and I try to speak the language and I try to connect with them in authentic ways. When I'm with my husband, oh God, Cinnamon, he and I can laugh so hard sometimes that I feel like I'm going to bust a rib. That feels authentic. When I'm with my family, right? Sometimes some family will make you feel disconnected. So your family's who you choose, not necessarily who you're born to. So just something to consider there. Okay. Hello, hello. Do we have any other ones? Any comments in the chat?
Not at the moment.
Okay. So what do you like to do? You guys, don't be, look, even right now, do you feel like you're going to be judged based on what you say? Maybe that's why you're not putting it in the chat. Think about that. If you want to raise nectarines in your yard and that makes you feel happy, you raise nectarines in your yard. If you want it, like I think of the movie where we see, gosh, why am I Field of Dreams? He plows down his cornfield to put a baseball field. And everybody's like, you're effing crazy. You've lost your mind, right? But he does it. He does it because he has faith. Spirit told him to. Too many times Spirit's told me to do stuff and I'm like, oh God, here we go. Here we go. This is crazy. How is this going to turn out? And you're just like, oh, I don't know. You have to keep the faith and you have to keep your alignment, right? Hi, Tammy. Hi, honey. You found football and Epsom salts. Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, take care of yourself. Spoil yourself. We talk about self-care in a way that almost sounds selfish. It's good for you. Do what you got to do. All right, next question.
Real quick, we got a comment from Tara. I've been learning my boundaries and not overextending myself. That has always been a problem.
It is for me too. I have to remind myself. Sometimes I will default into, I'll just do it. Let me just do it. I will do it. As I scale the work that I'm doing with Luna Goddess, I struggle. I'll be honest. I'm going to be vulnerable right now with all of you. I struggle to work with power partners to release responsibilities for them to take on related to my business. Because it's like a baby to me. I'm an entrepreneur. I want to oversee everything, but I know when you're growing and you're scaling in a business, you have to trust your power partners. You have to trust the people that work with you. I don't say for me, they work with me to make my job easier so that I can do more of what I love. I love public speaking. I'm constantly looking for opportunities to get in front of and do wisdom workshops with organizations or do wisdom presentations. So if that's something that aligns, please reach out to us as well. Information's up there. But I need to allow myself to sit back and let people do what they do best because I can't do everything. I can do some things very well, and I need to release that to other people as opposed to just being, I'll do it myself. I'll handle myself. I'll rebuild my website myself because somebody failed me. I'll do this, whatever the case is, I have to learn to release that control. And control, that's a trauma response. Always needing to be in control is a trauma response. It's feeling like that's where anxiety comes from. We spin out. It's feeling like if I'm not in control of this, it's not going to go well. Well, it might not go the way you want it to go, but then there's revision and work and remodeling, retooling, and sometimes it goes better than the way you wanted it to go. So The vulnerability of releasing control is something I'm personally working on right now. I feel like I'm a very vulnerable person. I can share and talk about anything, but I'm also one that I like my way and I like I've done my way, like even as simple as like laundry, loading the dishes, and grateful to my husband who does a beautiful job. Cinnamon's fabulous about taking on tasks, and yeah, I just look and I go, thank you for doing it, as opposed to you didn't do it my way. And that's the thing too. All right.
We have a couple
Go ahead, love.
have a couple comments from Tara on YouTube. When I'm making things for others, that's when I align most with myself. I put love and care into my pieces.
There you go. I think that you pour that love, right? If you've ever seen like Water for Chocolate, when people cook, you can cook the emotions of what you've got happening into what you're doing. 100%.
And we have another comment on TikTok. Please put prayers in for Grape Man's mom. Pray that she has an easy time going to the light, please. Getting ready to go over and tell her to go to the light.
Crossover, yeah. Well, may her journey be safe, secure, and filled with love. Absolutely. I'm sorry to hear that he's losing his mom. That's sad. Okay, let's move. I think there's one more question we have, right?
We have two more.
Two more. My gosh, Luna.
Number 3. What is one thing you deeply care about or believe in, even if it's not popular or conventional?
Oh God. That's easy. Being a medium, talking to the dead, sitting with myself all the time and feeling like this is weird that I have an open channel to spirit all the time. When we're out and about and I have to give people messages, like my family's gotten used to it, but they used to be really like, oh God, mom, here she goes again. Or when I first got together, Cindy, he'd be like, what's happening here? I'm like, well, spirit's got to download. I got to help somebody. I got to say something. It is not traditional. It's going to become more acceptable. I think after 2027, you're going to see a lot more people surfacing that are light workers, healers, Reiki masters, intuitives, mediums coming to the surface, because for so many years, the oppressive nature of being told that it was wrong or that it was unholy has really come through. So I think we're going to start leaning more into those, our own personal intuitive innovations, and start to see what we can create when we're not oppressed by other people's judgment and thinking. Anything else coming through?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Take it on to question 4.
Question number 4. If you weren't worried about what anyone else thought, what is one small step you would take today to be more true to yourself?
What is one step that I would take to be true to myself? Oh my goodness. Just keep leaning into my authenticity and doing what I'm doing. It was a big leap. It was not a small step. I've told this story before. I started TikTok and my other social medias late last year. And I'd had a channel on different things. If you're seeing us from YouTube, or if you're seeing us from Facebook, TikTok. Early last year, I started it and I sat on it and I was like, I'm nearly 50. And I had kind of a little bit of a crisis of how do I come in? How do I fit in? And I was like, oh, screw it. I'm not going to fit in. I'm going to stand out. I'm going to belong in an environment where my people will find me. And it was kind of slow going. And I didn't really do much until August. August hits and bam, we transform from a couple hundred people that are in our community to nearly 15,000. So in 4 months, now going into month 5, it's been a jump, and it's been done authentically, and it's been done collaboratively. And for that, I am grateful. For that, I'm grateful. I don't know about you guys or what's coming up in comments, but absolutely grateful and appreciative for all of you. And I'm seeing some things fly across the screen, whether they are those little treasure troves or comments. I appreciate just your time, your talent, your treasure, and all of those interactions.
Billy on TikTok said, how do I better self-help?
Well, what do you need? You have to sit with that. Like some people, are in a space that they've crawled into, and it's so isolating. So if it gets to a point where you're like, I don't know how to take my next step, I don't know how to feel better, I don't know how to not live with anxiety, stress, dread, trauma. I'm recovering, I'm hurting, I've had something happen in my life that has redirected my path, and I want to get back on my path. Sometimes it takes just a little bit of help. It doesn't take years and years of counseling, which, counselors are phenomenal. They're fantastic. Sometimes it just takes a mind reset. An instinct can put you into a different kind of mindset, and an instinct can take you out of that mindset. So please reach out. I highly recommend, we have something called the Mindset Hack. In an hour, you'll feel transformed. That is what I've been told by a ton of the clients that have done it. They've engaged with it. We kind of sit and go back to how to move forward when maybe you still feel like you have an arrow in your heart and pain in your heart. Okay. I love you guys so much too. I'm seeing some in the comments, right? My vintage eyes can't see as far as the monitor, right? Without my glasses on. I'm like, you ain't seeing me in my glasses. But I'll be over here. Right. Leaning into self-care, leaning into investing in yourself. There's some people that'll be like, when I get this or I get that, I'll reach out. I'm like, don't wait. Don't wait to invest in yourself. Don't wait to help heal yourself. It's a process of healing. It's not a destination of healing. I've said that before. It's the journey. Okay. Now I notice I'm going to go see if I can open this up.
Real quick, Billy said, I'm doing more self-relaxation.
Self-relaxation is fabulous. Self-relaxation is fabulous. Okay. So if you are interested now, I'm going to pull a collective. I'm going to pull a collective numerology and do like a 3 card. But if you are interested now, I did have the crown up there. So if somebody wants to have a read on the podcast, you can absolutely do that. But I'm going to do one here right now. As a collective, you can have a personalized one. We can take up to, what do we say, about 3? We can do 3 of the crown reads real quick, personalized here. Okay. It is up in TikTok in that treasure trove. Okay. Relaxation, attention. Here we go. Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you for those goodies. You guys are so sweet to me. Thank you. All right, let's talk about this. Woo! Talking about being authentic and leading into vulnerability. Renew love. I love it. Angels are signaling that it's an important relationship in your life needs renewal and attention. 301 is the number, right? From numerology standpoint. People can often hurt the ones they love the most, and you're being called to recognize that. Who in your life could use a little tender, loving care? Think of one way you can show a person you love that they are still as special to you now as they were the day you first met them. We're reigniting. 1-year cycle, a new energy. We're coming together. Then we see in the tarot side of things, the Page of Cups. I love this hopeful energy of just being uplifted and moving in a direction of curiosity. I keep saying curiosity is my word, and creativity, and having this like when pigs fly mentality and no limitations, and being led by the heart instead of the mind sometimes, where, if you come to me and said, from a logistics standpoint, this is where you'll be next, Sharon. I'm an intuitive. I'd have looked at you and said, you're often crazy. Okay. Also, renewing ourselves by seeing other communities. Now, I'm saying travel does not have to be go across the world. I'm not saying go to Bora Bora. You want to go to Bora Bora, go to Bora Bora. But I'm saying maybe it's just driving up the street to a new neighborhood, new community, sitting at the diner, having a cup of soup, having a cup of coffee, and just experiencing that, right? Just experiencing that. Oh, Tony, I see yours. Got it, babe. Yeah, I see that, love. Okay. And then finally, the 10 of Cups is sometimes we're spoiled for choice and we want our happiness, but is it your happiness or are you trying to live that dupe lifestyle? Spirit asks me, are you doing it because it's what you want or because it's what other people perceive happiness? Like I gotta say, I want the outcome, not the income. The income though pays the bills, and I love money. Abundantly, I love being abundant. I love the energy of having to have the freedom to do as I wish and want, right? But not at the expense of others. I will never be that person. Okay. I love being creative in certain areas. There are certain things that align with me. All right, Tony, I saw that crystal crown. Let's grab yours, my love. Let's do yours. You're getting that special intuitive innovations read right now. And we have probably time for one more. So let's go. Ooh. Ooh. So if you're on the TikTok side, you can reserve yours now. Let's take a look. Nothing like a podcast read. When you sent it, I assumed you had give it. Oh my goodness. Permission. So thank you for the permission. Thank you for the send of the permission. 154. 154. Personal journey. Valuable lessons have been learned. Ooh, I love this. Your angels are proud of your personal journey of self-truth and personal responsibility. I don't think this could have been a better number for you, Tony. This journey is a result of you choosing to learn valuable lessons from past mistakes. Write a list of what you've changed in your life since learning a valuable lesson. Oh, my sweet goodness. Love it. Then we come up with the 2 8s and the 5, right? Okay. So the 8 of Cups, you walked away from something when you didn't want to walk away. And we know what that is. In a sense, spirit moved you. Okay. Whether it's voluntary or involuntary, spirit, like the spirit claw, the claw picked you up, moved you, and dropped you into something else. And I absolutely love that for you. It did leave you feeling that 5 of Cup energy of woe was me, pity me, I'm in my fields. And we all know this was about, former work. Now going into this, like, okay, how do I sit with myself and recognize that sometimes things happen for us? Always things happen for us, not to us. Okay. Then furthermore, we have the 8 of Pentacles. So with that 8 of Pentacles energy is now you're in a new position, 8 infinite possibilities, but you're working extremely hard. You're kind of overworking yourself. Yeah, the claw big shot, right? Now we're overworking ourselves. We're sitting in this energy of like, wow, I'm busy. I'm doing the job of multiple people. Is this really my alignment? No, it is a temporary alignment until the claw picks you up and moves you into something else. But there's something about the connection of where you are right now and the people you're interacting with that will allow you to blossom in your next adventure, right? So that's that. We have time for one more. So if somebody wants to do that, or if there are questions that I'm missing, I'll open that up right now.
We have a comment from Tara on YouTube. I never worry what other people think. I am who I am, and not everyone likes it, and that's okay. The ones that matter most to me accept me. I will blossom into my authentic self when I am ready, which is starting to blossom now, and I'm loving and embracing every minute.
There you go. That's it. I always tell people, I might not be your cup of tea because I'm a cup of coffee, or I'm an espresso martini, depending upon how spicy I'm getting. You don't have to belong to everybody. You don't have to fit in with everybody, but you damn well better belong to yourself. And if you have betrayed yourself trying to fit in spaces and places with faces that aren't for you, you're going to hurt yourself. You're literally going to have those tears. You're going to feel broken down. You're going to feel inauthentic. So yeah, it was super on point. I was looking at that, Tony. It's going to knock you around. I saw there was a couple more.
Tony on TikTok said, how on point was that?
It's super on point. Like the cards don't lie. And it's the most beautiful thing I will say. I love the authenticity of what I do. And it's hard being an intuitive and a holistic healer because sometimes you do need to say things that are not what people want to hear. They are very true. They come from spirit. I am just the messenger. That is the one thing I'm super grateful to my creator, to source, to God, to whatever, the universe, however you want to use that nomenclature, is that I get to be authentically myself and be used as a vehicle to bring light and love and support. And sometimes you do have to give a message that something comes through and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to give it with love and grace, but I'm going to say, you know what? No, that's a bad idea. I remember a perfect example. I had a friend that I did a reading. We did a soiree And I was doing readings and she was planning to move for a relationship. And this was years and years ago. And I was at her house. We were doing like a ladies' party because I do that as with LunaGoddess.org. It's one of our services. And I said, you shouldn't go. Don't go. This is not going to go well for you. It's not going to end well for you. And she's like, I'm in love and it's great. And she was moving across the country. I said, this is no, I'm sorry. The cards are telling me otherwise. I wish you well. You have the gift of discernment and you have the gift of free will. But in this instance, I really want you to proceed with caution. And she came back years later, maybe like 2-3 years later, and was like, I should have listened to you. And I said, well, you had to have the experience. And that experience led to a different area of her life really being amplified, but that everything I had said did come to fruition. And I could have sat there and be like, yeah, that's great. Go do it. No, I can't. I have to be authentic to spirit and to myself and have the integrity to sometimes say, it's not a good idea. Maybe rethink that. Maybe sit with yourself on that. Maybe figure out if this is something we're doing to meet societal expectations or we're really living in our authenticity and vulnerability.
Billy on TikTok said I had to give that message last night.
There you go.
And then we also have a comment from Tara on YouTube. I lost myself for a while, but you've helped me to find myself again and regain my voice from my authentic self. And I am grateful for you every day.
You did that. I personally thank you for that compliment. But when I work with people, I want to make it very clear. They do the healing. I do the support of the healing. It's kind of like if you break a bone, I'm a cast. Okay. When you have a cast on, the bone will heal faster. When you have the mindset hacks or the readings or the support or the holistic healing. Now, I've talked about how I can support that. Please reach out to me. Don't hesitate. Don't wait and say, oh, I'll wait until I can afford it. You can afford anything you want. You have prioritize your spending because money is energy. It's currency. So please prioritize yourself. Prioritize yourself. Prioritize that healing. Make a commitment to yourself. Also, to please listen to what I'm saying. We've talked about this before, and I'll continue to talk about it. You need to really be aware energetically of what happens emotionally to you or to your body when you go through crisis and trauma and drama and how it takes such a hit on your body. Furthermore, societal hits. There's a lot going on in society right now. I've been talking about this since August. I'll go on record right now in January saying this. Please protect yourself and your body from all of these external things. I said from chest to head, there's going to be a serious influenza that kind of mocks pneumonia or maybe something else we've seen historically before. Connect the dots, people. Furthermore, there's something that's going to look like a norovirus where it's going to be a stomach concern. If you need help or support in those areas of holistic healing, of knowing what to take to amplify and to build in your immunity so you don't end up tremendously ill, please also send me a message. My goal here is that everybody lives their most authentic selves in their alignment with the Trinity of the divinity, the mind, the body, and the spirit. So as we kind of come to the end here, I encourage you, one, keep living your most authentic self, being vulnerable, showing up in a way that allows for your bubble to let good energy in and to protect you from maybe energy that's not meant for you, from the places, spaces, and faces that you interact with. Furthermore, it's another call out. Listen, this is a beautiful podcast and a beautiful resource. I ask you to share it. I ask you to send it out so our voice can be heard by the masses, because positivity, intuitive innovations, and sitting with self is really where we're headed. We're headed into a society where we're really going to be supportive. So please sit with that. Please think of that. Thank you again for joining us today. If you are interested in sponsorship, again, you can reach out to 216 Creator Studios or to lunagoddess.org. We'd love to have you collaborate with us on this journey. As always, Thank you for being a part of Intuitive Innovations.